terms agreed for Dave Allen to rematch Lenroy TNT for the Commonwealth Heavyweight title on the special K undercard on March 3rd, live on Sky Sports Boxing. So as you can see, people, Eddie Hearn has announced that Dave Allen will be rematching Lenroy Thomas. Now, I actually covered this fight, the first fight, on my original channel, which happened, I believe it was May. Dave Allen fought Lenroy Thomas, or is it Lenroy or is it Leroy? Something like that, but I think it was May last year. And funny enough, it was also in the undercard of a Kell Brook fight, because they fought on the undercard of the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence Jr. I remember I watched it live. So once again, Dave Allen will be fighting Lenroy Thomas on the undercard of a Kell Brook fight. When this fight was first announced when they first fought in the undercard of Spence versus Brook, I was very confident that Dave Allen would win, because I pictured Lenroy Thomas as kind of like one of those D level fighters, you know what I'm saying? Or as Wilder would say, D level fighters. Them D level fighters, man. But that's the type of level I felt Lenroy Thomas was. But to my surprise, he actually impressed me in that fight. I thought he was doing a good job of staying away from Dave Allen. He was trying to play the counter-puncher role. And he was countering. I thought he was countering Dave Allen a lot. I remember during that fight, Carl Froch was, he was commentating during the fight. And I remember how biased he was. Like, he was very biased. He was giving every single round to Dave Allen. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, Lenroy Thomas won some rounds. Why are you just giving every round to Dave Allen? It was pretty obvious that, Carl Froch was just very biased towards Dave Allen. I don't know if they were friends or anything, but he was acting like he was winning every single round. And he had him winning and stuff. But, yeah. I remember in this fight, the big thing was Dave Allen was out of shape. He was fat. And I remember after the fight, they interviewed, I believe, IFL TV interviewed him. And, interviewed Eddie Hearn. And I remember Eddie Hearn, I think I even made a video about it. I remember Eddie Hearn, he was just letting Dave Allen have it. He was saying how he was basically disgusted that, because this was like his one opportunity to do it, and he felt that he didn't, commit himself. And he felt that he was, I think he said something to the extent that, he was, Dave Allen was going out in pubs and stuff, drinking, not taking it seriously. That's why he was fat. That's why he was out of shape. And that's why, and he was disgusted, and I remember he said something like he needs to take boxing serious. He just was all around disgusted by Dave Allen's performance. I remember he was just being very critical on him. But since then, I remember they were supposed to fight sometime in October last year, but something happened and the fight was called off. And I remember at that time I made a video and I was like, yo, look at how in shape Dave Allen is, because Dave Allen in those 5 months had gotten in a lot more better physical condition. Another thing that I remember is Kenny Porter. Kenny Porter trained Lenroy Thomas for this fight. He trained Lenroy Thomas, and it was like a one-off thing. And a lot of people gave Kenny Porter, Sean Porter's father, a lot of credit for giving him the perfect game plan to beat Dave Allen. So I'm curious, is Kenny Porter's... And I remember the reason he replaced them was because I think his original trainer had some type of visa problems. He couldn't get into the United Kingdom, and Kenny Porter, I guess he was in the United... Oh yeah, Kenny Porter went to England with his son Sean Porter because they were supporting Errol Spence Jr. They came there to support Errol Spence Jr. They're cool with Errol Spence Jr. And he was just there, like I said, just to support, with his son, Sean Porter, just to support, Spence versus Kell Brook. And then Lenroy Thomas I guess he was desperate, and he was like, "Oh man, my trainer can't come to he can't get his visa to come." So I guess he saw that, oh look, Kenny Porter, he's a boxing trainer, and I guess he reached out to him there, and he was like, "Yo, can you train me for like one fight?" And Kenny Porter was like, "All right," and he trained him, and he ended up winning I believe the Commonwealth Heavyweight Championship. Well, I don't know what type of belt that is. That's one of those minor belts in like the United Kingdom Commonwealth belts. It's kind of like, and like in the States, there's like the NBF or something. I always forget what they're called. The NB something, those very small belts that you win when you're like in the youth, when you're like a prospect. So yeah, he won that belt. So I'm curious, is Kenny Porter gonna be there as his trainer again? Because I think they were a good match. I remember during the fight, Kenny Porter kept, every time Lenroy Thomas would not do what Kenny Porter wanted him to do, he would like tell him, listen, stick to the game plan. He never had him not stick to the game plan. He was always telling him to do the right thing, and he was telling him like, look, dude, the reason you're getting hit is because you're staying in the ropes too long. You have to, move. You have to do this. And when Lenroy Thomas would listen to Kenny Porter, he would have success, and that's why I believe he won. He ended up winning the fight. Had he just stayed in the ropes, I think that's when Dave Allen would just pummel him and beat him up. So I'm very curious. I hope that Lenroy Thomas hires Kenny Porter as a trainer again, because who knows, maybe he's the perfect match for him as a trainer, especially because he already has experience of him versus Dave Allen. But again, maybe it's something about loyalty. I don't know how loyal he is with his current trainer. Maybe his current trainer has been training him for like 5 years, and he's like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. That was just a one-time thing because he couldn't get into the United Kingdom because he had visa problems. So maybe he won't have Kenny Porter again. Who knows? Maybe that would affect him in this fight. Maybe it won't. So yeah, the fact that Dave Allen's gonna be in better shape is probably he's probably gonna have a better engine. But I feel, I've always felt Dave Allen was a very low level type of guy, a second tier type of heavyweight, and I saw Lenroy Thomas outboxing Dave Allen, countering him. So I think if Lenroy Thomas sticks to that game plan, he should be able to beat him again. If I'm Dave Allen, I believe Dave Allen has to really pick up the tempo. I don't think he was letting his hands go enough, because when he actually was letting his hands go, when he was pinning Lenroy Thomas in the ropes, he was actually having success. I think he needs to go to the body. I think he needs to go to Lenroy's body. I think he needs to smother him. If I'm not mistaken, I felt like he was the physically stronger guy when they were in their pocket, because I felt like he was physically strong. I think it's been a while since I've seen that fight, months, but I think at the time I felt like, if he would have just been a little bit more, use his physical advantage, he would have a lot more success. And also, I think my biggest complaint was the fact that I felt like he wasn't letting his hands go enough. So maybe because he's lighter now, he'll be able to, that he'll be more, aggressive and let his hands go enough. I'm glad this fight's happening though, because I thought it was a decent fight, and I remember I wanted the fight to happen back in October, but it didn't happen. But it's a decent fight. But again, if Dave Allen loses this fight, he should just retire, because I don't think there's coming back. Because like again, he was supposed to beat Lenroy Thomas in the first fight. If he loses, there's no coming back for that, in my opinion, because you're supposed to beat him and you lose again. That's 2 losses in a row. Although I think he fought I think some bum. So yeah, if you can't beat somebody in the level of Lenroy Thomas, and at this day and age in the heavyweight division, I don't think you're gonna be too successful. And basically you're never gonna, because he's not I think Derek Chisora made it further in his career than someone like Dave Allen. And Derek Chisora is looked at as of right now as a gatekeeper. But I think, he made it further in his career. He never became a champion, Chisora, but he made it further in his career than Dave Allen, in my opinion. So if he can't even beat someone like Lenroy Thomas, then, I don't know. Anyway, guys, just my opinion. I'm out.